Today, we're diving into David Brooks's incredible book, The Social Animal. And it kicks off with a pretty wild idea. What if I told you that most of your life, all the big decisions, are secretly being run by a hidden, unconscious mind?
You know that feeling, right? You're at a party or maybe a meeting, everyone's smiling, everything seems totally fine on the surface, but there's this little voice deep inside you just screaming, "Something's not right, get out of here." Where does that come from? Well, according to this book, that's your social animal. Think of it as a second mind, this powerful, unconscious force that's always working behind the scenes. And get this, it's writing something like 90% of your life script. Who you fall for, the career you choose, who you trust, it's all being guided by this hidden part of yourself. So, let's get to know this stranger living inside of us. Most of us walk around thinking, yeah, I'm a logical person, I make rational choices. But it turns out that's really only half the story. The real action is happening somewhere much deeper. The book gives us this great character to illustrate the point, Harold. Harold is Mr. Logic. I mean, for every single decision, this guy makes a pro-con list. He's got spreadsheets for buying a car, for picking a vacation spot. He believes every choice can be boiled down to pure reason.
And then one day, he meets Erica. And that's it. It just happens. There was no list, no logical breakdown. It was just this immediate, deep, undeniable feeling. His social animal, that unconscious part of him, made a decision in a split second that his conscious mind would have debated for a decade.
So Harold's story really shows us that the biggest turns in our lives often have nothing to do with spreadsheets. They're guided by a force that is way, way more powerful than our conscious brain. So just how powerful are we talking about here?
All right, let's put these two minds side by side. You've got your conscious mind, the one that's listening to me right now, and then you have your unconscious, that hidden engine running the entire operation. The difference between them is, well, it's kind of staggering.
Okay, look at these numbers. It's not even a fair fight. Your conscious mind is chugging along, processing about 40 bits of information per second. Your unconscious mind, it's processing around 11 million bits in that exact same second. It's the part of you that sees patterns before you do, the part that gives you that gut feeling. It is the real powerhouse.
The book has this perfect metaphor for it. Your conscious mind, it's like a press secretary. Its job is to go out there and create a neat, logical story to explain the decisions that have already been made. But the real CEO, the one in the corner office making all the big calls, that's your unconscious mind.
So, if this unconscious CEO isn't using logic and spreadsheets, what language does it even speak? The answer is actually pretty simple. It speaks the language of feelings, of emotion. For centuries, we were told logic and emotion were enemies, but it turns out they can't exist without each other. Let me tell you about this case study from a neuroscientist. He had a patient who, due to some brain damage, lost the ability to feel emotions. But here's the crazy part. His IQ was fine, his logical reasoning was perfectly intact.
And yet, the man was paralyzed. He couldn't make the simplest decisions. If you asked him to pick a restaurant for lunch, he could spend hours, literally hours, listing the pros and cons of each. But he could never, ever make a choice. Without emotion to tell him what he wanted, what he cared about, his logic was useless. And this gets us right to the heart of the book's main idea. Reason isn't the opposite of emotion. It's built right on top of it. Our feelings are what assign value to things. They're like a GPS for our thoughts, telling our brain what's important and what's not.
Okay, so we've got this super powerful, emotional, unconscious mind calling the shots. That's a little terrifying, right? So the big question is, can we do anything about it? Can we train this social animal to make better choices? And the answer is a definite yes.
Let's talk about the famous marshmallow test. You've probably heard of it. Researchers put a marshmallow in front of a little kid and said, "Look, you can eat this one right now. But if you can wait 15 minutes until I get back, you'll get two." It's a classic test of self-control.
Now here's where it gets mind-blowing. They tracked these kids for years, and the ones who were able to wait for that second marshmallow, they went on to have higher SAT scores, they were healthier, they had more successful careers. It turns out self-control isn't just something you're born with, it's a skill, it's a muscle. And the great news is you can train that muscle. The way you build character is by winning thousands of these little internal battles. You have to face your weaknesses head-on. You practice self-control, especially when it's hard. And over time, as you build these good habits, what used to be a struggle, well, it just becomes who you are. You're literally reprogramming your unconscious mind.
So what does all this mean for living a good, meaningful life? I mean,
Our culture is constantly telling us to chase a very specific kind of success, right? The kind you can see.
Brooks calls this the first mountain. It's all about the external stuff. Career, money, status, accomplishments. Things you can put on a resume. But what he found is that a lot of people get to the top of that mountain and realize there's nothing there. The real journey, the more fulfilling one, is what he calls the second mountain. And climbing this second mountain, it's not about being better than anyone else. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. Your life becomes centered around 4 deep commitments: to your family and friends, to a vocation, something you feel called to do, to a philosophy or faith, and to your community. This is the stuff that truly feeds the soul.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The goal of a well-lived life isn't for your logical brain to beat your emotional brain into submission. It's about getting them to work together, to form this beautiful partnership. It's about reaching a point where your head and your heart are speaking the same language, and your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all pointing in the same direction.
Ultimately, the book leaves us with this powerful challenge. We're all telling a story about our lives every single day. And the most successful, fulfilled people are the ones who learn to take control of that story. They stop seeing themselves as a victim of their circumstances and start seeing themselves as the hero. So the real question is, when will you?